jungle.
The Dreamcast is probably one of the stupidest consoles of all time. And that's kind of why I love it. It has so many baffling titles that work to unleash the full potential of the console in the most insane way possible. Why the hell does Super Magnetic Neo gets to run at 60 FPS using the most gorgeous graphics on the console, while a bunch of other games can barely hit 30 FPS? It's probably due to the level designs being quite limited, sort of like Crash, since it sort of is a Crash clone, which was pretty rare for the company, as usually what they would make are fighting and robot titles, so seeing a Crash-like at 60 FPS on the Dreamcast is kind of insane. Nowadays, they worked on frickin' Devil Roll Run after 15 years of not working on their own titles. What? Also, they made Tokyo Extreme Racer, which had a comeback last year, which is even more surprising. Tokyo Extreme Racer for the Sega Dreamcast probably helped them establish themselves on the console. You'd think Super Magnetic Neo is a normal Crash clone, but no, it has magnets! Like the old platformers of the Super NES/Genesis era, you take a gimmick and you run with it. And like the SNES era, there probably aren't that many people who worked on the game. What? 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 Okay, I take that back. No wonder this game's level design is tight. Maybe a bit too tight from time to time. Either way, I love how it uses most buttons of the console to create these mildly obscure mechanics, especially the magnets or the run button, as well as the VMU, the memory card/game systems that warns you when there's an hidden item. Why not? Are the words that can describe the Dreamcast. Amongst the most normal Sega sports titles and acclaimed PC ports lie so much insane stuff. Pen these nuts in my mouth. I wish I rented Pen. I don't know how much I would have paid for it, but the Japanese Dreamcast logo feels much more accurate to what the console is. Dreamcast! More playful, more fun, more silly, creativity in a single swirl. So creative, in fact, that Sega decided to work on a minigame called Sega Swirl, which consists of a couple of modes using a very jazzy soundtrack.
Now you must acquire a taste for freeform jazz.
It's a puzzle game where you match stuff until you can't. I've got a similar one in the Zenses minigame collection. You can also play it on PC. I just don't know how to do that. What a silly, cute little game. How do you even play it? It's on those bland, flavorless demo discs. In my opinion, I'm sure some people love these aesthetics. As part of the web browser, which ironically has a more impressive UI than the ordinary grim futuristic menu. Again, in my opinion. I prefer PS1's demo discs menus since it's more than just a menu. It has characters, objects, actual music. Compare that to that one Dreamcast ads vibe. I kinda wish the demo disc had that flavor, but then again, animated 10,000 other characters is probably a pain. That flavor tastes yummy. I'm sure the Japanese one looked more fun, but whatever. We got an Anti-Smoke ad and Jurassic 5, which I don't know what that is, but it's in Jet Set Radio, I think. I still think some of the Dreamcast features revolutionized gaming as a whole, especially the online aspects. The Dreamcast was advertised as this big hardcore machine for gamers, only for some of the games to look like this.
Take that!
I'm sure Zombie Revenge was impressive at the time. The goofiness of it all just fuels me, like these realistic character models coupled with every cartoony, almost cliched objects. That's pretty funny. A bit of an old school style with new school ideas such as horror. I'd say Zombie Revenge can be described as the House of the Dead of beat-em-ups. Goofy, cheesy, fun. I cannot think about the title without thinking about bullets. It's about as legendary as Digivolution from Rumble Arena on PS1, or the way the announcer from Smash 64 sounds like they're saying Austin Powers instead of Captain Falcon. Yet another example of why this game is legendary. The jankiness of the controls also help a lot. I'd call this one the funny zombie game of the console, complete with someone who speaks Japanese for the sake of it. Plus, playing with friends feels like the ultimate multiplayer experience. Yes, the Nintendo 64's party games reigned all over the 4-player enthusiasts, especially in America, but the Dreamcast party games also existed as much as they could. Power Stone 2 could be considered one of the most fun party games on the console, according to me as well as one of my siblings. No X are given here. Here's a bunch of fully interactive environments to use plenty of items to ruin your friends' lives. Power Stone 1 can be a serious fighter, but 2 just throws all of the serious atmosphere out and keeps the silly in, turning it into one of the best games to show your friends the power of the console. I'm also glad both can be purchased on modern hardware now. You can even play them online, which wasn't there at the time. Ironic! Now it'd be nice for you to re-release Cannon Spike, Capcom. I haven't played that one, but its semi-apocalyptic setting and weird cast are interesting. It feels like the title was supposed to have an original cast of characters, but Capcom decided to slap well-known mascots on it. Also, why Mega Man and not X? X would have worked better with the darker tone. Then again, Capcom games on Dreamcast mostly consisted of ports, arcade ports, with a few original titles shining through the cracks, as well as a never translated before 6-part RPG. I'm kinda okay with that. Kinda. Who needs a trombone anyways? I need trombone actually. It's why Resident Evil Code Veronica felt like a big deal, because Capcom decided to step out of the PlayStation zone for a big release, plus it had superior graphics, so groundbreaking. Other third-party publishers did not care that much, such as Namco with their Mr. Driller. Konami, at the very least, got to cancel 2 games, one being Castlevania in 3D, while the other being Darkside Ephemeral Fantasia. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. What a name, especially for a very crusty game. Initially it was planned for Dreamcast, but ended up at the PS2's launch lineup. I thought it was the team behind Suikoden that made the title, but I can't find anything related to that team, especially for Ephemeral Fantasia's development. The game just poofed out of thin air and that's it. The title stars a bard who's also that one warrior cat's map, as he plays music for the king's marriage. So not only do you get to ruin a marriage on your JRPG quest, but you also get to play this instrument, which I despise. Seriously, it might be hard for me to despise a rhythm game, but this one infuriates me beyond anything I've ever played. The fact that you obligatorily need to play this minigame to progress just makes me scream. As much as the constantly rotating camera angles in the battles annoy me, you can change them to something less painful. Even if I want to throw this man off of a cliff into a therapy center, I hate him much more than the cool 7 days time system, the battle system, or the vibes of the game itself. I like games where you feel like you're on a vacation, Apuna included. It's just that I wish the devs cooked it for a bit longer. If there's a game I would have loved to see remade, it's this one, but it's impossible since it's made by Konami. Echo the Dolphin also managed to get this kind of lovely vibe, but underwater. No time limits, only dolphin noises. That said, I only played the PS2 version. Same with Grandia 2, which I played 10 hours of until an annoying boss ruins absolutely everything. Do I think most Dreamcast JRPGs share the same vibe? Grandia 2 and Ephemeral Fantasia got similar limited approach to the top-down camera angle in RPG. So do the dungeon crawlers of the Dreamcast. There's like 3 and I own them all, I think. I wanted to play Evolution Worlds on GameCube using my 1049 memory card, but this game corrupted it somehow. It made the whole family sad. Thanks, Ubisoft. Thanks, Ubisoft? What? Yes, like many other companies in the 2000s/90s, Ubisoft localized a bunch of Japanese titles, yay, all the way up to 2006 even. Senko no Ronde was really fun to play. Either way, I wanted to play the GameCube game that corrupted my memory card, so I bought the first one on Dreamcast, then later discovered the second one existed, so I bought it after a while. Money! So Evolution gets to be a dungeon crawler with turn-based fights all of the time. So it is slower than your usual mystery dungeon titles, although it is more entertaining somehow. I love the way the characters level up normally, but the skills themselves level up according to a separate kind of experience that you earn. So the first time you use a new skill, you won't use any PP, so using new skills during boss fights feel fun. The story itself is very simple, since it consists of a dungeon, then a cutscene, then another dungeon, then another cutscene. You get the point. The plot is very neat, but also left me hoping for more. Fortunately, the sequel fixes that by adding more lore, a bit more story, as well as an okay, I guess, ending. I feel like the mystery behind Mag's father would have been solved in a third entry. Too bad the GameCube port just dropped around and then nothing else. Lamau a Neo Geo port. One thing that baffles me is how a Scenario Factory Gecko, as well as a few writers, were involved in the first game, along with Sting's Nobuhiko Matsumura. But what even is a Scenario Factory? Apparently, the original story was by Matsumura, but does that mean that it got toned down by a bunch of other writers? I cannot find any info about Geku, so I guess they were the predecessor to Sweet Baby Inc. somehow. Either way, they did not come back for the sequel, and even then the story has the same vibe regardless. Matsumura worked for a bunch of other games, it's just that I wish Evolution got an actual ending to a trilogy. This feels like CD1 and 2 of an actual bigger JRPG. The second game has two major differences. The first being a third-person camera that looks cool yet is optional. The other being that you cannot create quick saves anymore. Why omit that when most assets of the last game get reused here? I don't No, I still like it, but when even Shiren the Wanderer has quick saves, it just looks baffling. If you ask me, a game people talk even less about is Time Stalkers, a mystery dungeon-like about a vampire-looking guy with a dark past who somehow gets transported through time to a town with multiple other characters from other Climax Entertainment games living in it. Each one of these townspeople either try accepting their new home or cope with their situation. I'd recommend talking with everyone because their stories are very neat. Aside from that, the story itself can feel a bit too simple at times, especially since our protag's dark past never gets mentioned, aside from some optional cutscenes that require you to die at level 1. Yes, seriously, I barely can find any info on that, but maybe this video might help more people to acknowledge the existence of Time Stalkers. I'll try finding the site where I found out about that. Either way, the game plays like a regular mystery dungeon entry, although you can capture monsters which help you out on your quest. Very fun, very functional. That's also how I feel about the game overall. Too bad the manual didn't wow me like the Evolution one. For Evolution 1, Ubisoft gave us a fully colored manual with so much artwork, concept art, and a small interview. Thanks Ubisoft, for once. While Evolution 2 toned the cool content down, it's still a full color manual compared to Time Stalker's black and white one. Most Dreamcast manuals were in black and white, but with pretty pictures. I would also dive into Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, but it's just that they're too long to talk about to fit in this video, so might as well go to the Ubisoft side of the Dreamcast library, that also consists of Rayman 2, as well as Dragon Riders, The Chronicles of Pern, a game I do not regret buying at all for $40. I want to make a video about the cozy games from hell, and the slower pace of this one fits so well. The biggest problem that plagues this one are the loading screens. I found the writing charming to the point where I enjoyed roaming around to talk to everyone. The only non-cozy parts are the fights. No, leaving that for the Cozy Games video. All you need to know is that UB got invested in the console, especially since it had the closest graphics to PC so far, which meant less compression. Probably, the Dreamcast felt like the predecessor to the Xbox in that regard. Probably, video games are a thing, such as the other Dragon game, Draconus. Draconus stars 2 characters, each with a different campaign, each one for a different gender, like Ape Escape 3. Yay! If you think this is one of those open world adventure games, no, you go through a level, a bunch of very light RPG elements pop up, the levels are so big, they cause frame rate issues. If you struggle the same way I do, just cheat, especially since the levels don't have any form of checkpoint. Well, the unpredictability of the combat can be painful. A better frame rate could be very appreciated. PC recomp. When? The art direction feels like an early generic fantasy 3D PC game. Twilight Princess fans will appreciate it the way I do. I just like the jank. PC games got often ported to the Dreamcast. Railroad Tycoon, Silver, The Hedgehog, a bunch of visual novels, etc. Easy. So nobody batted an eye when a Dreamcast exclusive ChuChu Rocket played like a PC game and was online. ChuChu Rocket's aesthetics fit very well with the Y2K, Fruity Girl, Aero, Dreamcore, Weirdcore, futuristic vibe everyone's into. It all feels so futuristic yet so simple. The understanding the gameplay can be hard at first, since you use each face button to place an arrow, so playing with friends who all need to learn the basics can be quite complicated. It's a part party game with a learning curve. Even Sonic Shuffle is easier to learn since it has only 1 or 2 buttons at the same time. Still, playing with people who know what they're doing makes for a very fun experience. Even locally, it's not a big surprise since Sonic Team developed the game along with Fantasy Star Online. I thought the DC version supported local multiplayer, but that's just on GameCube. Fortunately, the single-player experience works just as well, and by well I mean the gameplay feels bare bones and basic. It's still pretty fun, especially due to the music, as well as the overall atmosphere. The world building is also subtle due to the very fast-paced story that only exists as an excuse to go on quests. Even then, the story explores complex themes with some very good writing in my opinion. Do you want to talk about colonization and how corpos are willing to monetize anything? PSO is the kind of game for you. It's just that the story doesn't become the main focus since it doesn't have big fancy cutscenes. Creativity caused by limitations. Newer MMORPGs get bigger, fancier cutscenes, but remembering our roots is important. Remembering how important Maken X is. Just not for what you think. Maken X is a first-person slasher where you fight using swords. Its jankiness can be felt all across the controls. You just need to really adapt to it. Or use cheats. Don't worry, since the story goes to super neat places, as long as you're fine with the voice acting, which I'm kind of okay with, not the biggest fan. I love the graphics even if the lips won't move. It translates very well Atlas art style into 3D since it wasn't a thing at the time. Atlas games usually were more in 2D. However, what's important is that in this French Persona essay I paid $40 for, Shoji Meguro, the Persona sound guy, got fed up with the limitations of the PS1 music until he became a composer for Maken X, so I wouldn't be surprised if he continued creating music for Atlas because of that game. Ironically, a lot of Persona 1 fans prefer the original PS1 soundtrack, so that's funny because in the remake Shoji Meguro was about to accomplish everything he wanted. So that's pretty funny. And so he went on to make Persona music. So due to that, Maken X is accidentally important. Shenmue's also important, like most people say. The stankiness of the voice acting is charming, while the Dreamcast exclusive Passports has vibe of its own, using nightmarish close-ups to explain the mechanics.
You now have the privilege to learn a thing or two from the great Chai himself. The likes of you wouldn't know about QTE. What? You know about it? You insolent little creep.
I kinda wished it was on the remaster. Too bad, it gives me a reason to keep the original. I would like to talk about the Floyd brothers, but it's sort of the cozy adventure game, so it might go in the cozy games video. Plus the games earned a very negative reputation because it is cryptic and a streamer played it. Unfortunately, streamers who need instant gratification in their games don't mix well with games that require patience and are cryptic. Gremlin's Sheep shut down anyone with a different opinion while calling the game ably. Nope, not going there. I'd rather go to the north of Canada with Laura. I discovered KGNO's game portfolio in 2008 in an interview with EGM, who complained about Japanese games not being as good. Well, it's kind of slightly understandable since Japanese devs were struggling with HD, but come on! It's like Persona 4 didn't revolutionize RPGs, along with Professor Layton. It's just not in HD, so that makes journalists mad. This context aside, I learned about the entirety of his work. So when we got the Dreamcast, I found D2 and I'll Bleed. I picked D2 and wow, it was an experience. Originally, the game was supposed to have Laura's son as the protag, but it was lost, so what we got was this. Probably one of the most horrifying games on the Dreamcast, next to I'll Bleed's Toy Story parody. Jeez! D2 stars Laura in either point-and-click adventure segments or shooting action RPG segments. What? The story can also feel disjointed, straight up insane as yes, it is about a sci-fi prophecy cult. However, the amount of themes tackled here is phenomenal, like the symbolism of D2 rivals the one of Silent Hill 2. Okay, maybe not as much, but D2 walks so Silent Hill 2 could run. I love the story somehow as much as the other titles of the era. Yes, the open world can feel empty, but charming, despite how the Dreamcast loading sound kind of make you predict when the next battle would happen. Since it's a bunch of random battles, I just wish they were compatible with the Dreamcast light gun. Wasted potential? That doesn't make me hate the game whatsoever. Probably my favorite Dreamcast game. Aside from Sonic, I'll talk about Sonic Jr. later. The Dreamcast library is stupid and insane and I love it so much. And I haven't played Apple Tale, only watch a video essay. So yeah, before I go on again, thank you for watching and please like and subscribe before I talk about Radar G. Please help.